Good morning, class. Welcome to week 6 of Intro to U.S. Government. We're finishing up our discussion of the 3 branches of government. So we've talked about the legislative branch. Article 1 of the Constitution lays out the legislative branch. Article 2 talks about the executive branch, the presidency, and the bureaucracy. Good job making through our first week with 2 chapters. So we had a little more work to do last week, but as we'll continue to discuss, the executive branch has become by far the largest and most powerful of the 3 branches. This week, we're going to be discussing the 3rd branch, the Supreme Court, the judicial branch. Article 3 of the Constitution. Article 3 covers the outline, kind of the setup of our federal court system. Of course, it wasn't there wasn't a whole lot of detail. They got less and less detail as they went on in the Constitution. Lots of detail in Article 1, less detail in Article 2. Very little detail in Article 3. It mostly just talks about the Supreme Court, establishing the Supreme Court, and then left the rest of the creating the federal courts to the legislative branch, which they did in the Judiciary Act of 1789, this first act that created the federal courts. This is also the first act to be overturned by the Supreme Court in the famous case of Marbury versus Madison, which I'm sure we've discussed thus far, and we'll mention multiple more times. We'll also mention another one of the Federalist Papers. You'll be reading Federalist 78 for the discussion and discussing this idea that Alexander Hamilton put forward, that the judiciary branch, they believe the judiciary branch to be the least dangerous of the 3 branches. So I want you to think about that, and that's what we're going to discuss, talk about in the discussion this week. Why did Hamilton and the founders think that the judiciary branch would be the least powerful of the 3 branches? He's correct. The Supreme Court is certainly the least powerful of the 3 branches, and there's some particular reasons for that I want you to think about in the discussion this week. And then we're already upon test number 2. Our second test is going to cover the 3 branches of government. So these last 3 weeks, the legislative branch, the Congress, the executive branch, the presidency, and the bureaucracy, and then lastly, the judiciary branch and the Supreme Court. So that's our test this weekend. Friday will be open on Friday until Sunday, just like test number 1. You'll have that whole weekend. Once you open the test, you have an hour to complete the test. Similar to the last one, mostly true, false, multiple choice with a handful of short answer questions. Remember, I'm digging people as I'm seeing very obvious AI written responses. You're allowed to use the book for the tests, but you're not allowed to input your responses into AI. I'm going to continue to mark points off as I believe or I think that you've been using AI. Of course, you have the opportunity to come back and tell me that you disagree with me, and we'll have that conversation. But please do not use AI. I do not grade hard on these. I want you to think. I want you to think about what you've read, think about what you've interacted with in the inquisitives, what you saw in the lectures, and give me your best response. It's not helping anybody for you to just generate AI responses, and you're not learning anything from that, and we're here to learn. So I hope that you enjoyed this week, and good luck on the test this weekend. Continue to send me any questions that you have, any concerns that you have, and we'll see you guys in the discussion this week. All right, talk to you soon.